That helped. I was looking for my composure. It found me. Okay. So, oh. That's okay. You can get off the stage now. I forgive you. For good. Okay. So, that song, Karen. It's not even it's so much more than it even appears to be. And I feel very privileged to get to follow that song. You know, I really do feel like it's why I spend so much time, Doug and I spend so much time literally choosing the music that precedes anything I'm going to say, because it is a launching pad. It takes us all somewhere, and then I get to ride on that. So, thank you. So what a week, huh? Affirmative action, voters' rights, DOMA, Proposition 8. The Supreme Court was very busy, wasn't it? The Supreme Court has been very, very busy. And you know, I don't do the political thing up here. I don't. And lest you think I'm going to, I'm not going to. However, I will use what's been going on in a metaphysical and spiritual way. The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is, according to Wikipedia, the highest court in the land with ultimate jurisdiction. The highest court in the land with ultimate jurisdiction, which makes me think, what do we give ultimate jurisdiction to in our minds? Every single one of us is our own little Supreme Court. And our minds every day are weighing back and forth issues and ideas and beliefs, mostly beliefs, core beliefs. What is the jurisdiction in your mind that comes up with your decision? And when are you the opposing voice? And when are you consenting to what's being thought? Important stuff. So if your mind were a courtroom, who gets to make the final decision? And your mind is a courtroom, by the way. So what in you gets to make the final decision? You know, all of these rulings this week left a divided country still. Some people are happy. Some people are not so happy. Some people are angry. And some people could care less. But it's interesting. It still leaves factions, doesn't it? Regardless of how happy some of us may be with some of the decisions, it still leaves factions. You know, gay rights, voters' rights, women's rights. You know, the fact is that all of these rights are changeable. All of these rights are changeable, certainly in light of the law, in light of the courts. The Supreme Court can change any one of them at any time. Even the Supreme Court can change its mind, because the minds that make up the Supreme Court are different minds depending on what time you live, what area you live in, where you live, the time you live, right? So even the minds that made up these Supreme Court rulings this week will be different minds in so many years, and will maybe decide to change them again. Now, I'm not trying to depress you, but I am trying to get you to understand that we get so caught up in these decisions, and yet they are still just facts. It's not the truth. It's not the absolute truth. Justice Anthony Kennedy, in his decision, wrote, "DOMA writes inequality into the entire United States Code." That was one of the things he said in his decision. DOMA writes inequality into the entire United States Code. However, I read some of the dissents, and they said the exact opposite, right? So the Defense of Marriage Act, is marriage between one man and one woman. But you know what the thing about that is? The Defense of Marriage Act, the marriage between one man and one woman, it makes sense. It makes sense. We have thought forever that marriage was the marriage between a man and a woman, haven't we? That's what most people have thought for centuries. It's a logical thing. So it's not that we should be so angry that some people can't change their mind from that. It's a mind that has been set forever. Right? So that doesn't bother me. I get it. I have family members that have a very hard time with this. I don't talk to them anymore. But we come from a history that is unchangeable. Do you know that? You can't change history. It is what it is. I went to the Colony Theater on Friday evening to see a musical called Falling for Make Believe. Has anybody seen it here? No. Today's their last performance. If you want to go see a beautiful, incredible show, I would run over to the Colony and see this. It's about the life of Lorenz Hart, of Rodgers and Hart. As someone who understands musical theater the way I do and consider myself an aficionado of all things musical, it was amazing to me that I knew nothing about this man, especially consider I've starred in 2 of his shows. Obviously, he wasn't alive when I did, but sad for him. But I had no idea who this man was, and the musical takes you through his very tortured life of being a gay man in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. And as a gay man in 2013, where are we? 13. That's not my reality. That's not my mindset. I imagine Lorenz Hart, if he were here today, with the mindset of the 20s, 30s, and 40s, would feel like he had gone into some sci-fi movie with what was going on this week. And yet that wasn't that long ago, was it? And this man really, really made me sad leaving that theater on Friday night. This man literally went into a life of alcoholism and depression because he didn't feel that who he wanted to love could ever be okay, and didn't allow himself to, and basically died, of alcoholism at the height of his career. I mean, this is the man who wrote Pal Joey and On Your Toes and, such incredible I'll Take Manhattan. Brilliant, brilliant songs. And I have to tell you, when I realized some of the songs that I have sang in musicals, such as Falling in Love with Love is Falling for Make Believe, and then I go to a mind that wrote that line for a reason, I get very sad. Or, this can't be love because I feel so good. Think about that lyric. And I sang that as Antipholus of Syracuse in the revival of Boys from Syracuse. This can't be love because I feel so good. No song, and I sang those lyrics then. No song, no sorrows, no sighs, because that's what love meant to this man. So I'm only bringing this up because I want to be clear. I came into my maturity after Stonewall. I was in New York as a gay man after all that stuff happened. I came into my maturity after Rosa Parks had already taken a stand. And do you know what she said of that fateful day in the history of equal rights? And I love this. This is what Rosa Parks said about her entire place in history. She said, all I was doing was trying to get home from work. Now, if that doesn't touch you, I don't know what will. She brings it to the real purpose of this whole thing, doesn't she? I was just living. All this other stuff that we do, it's not the truth. It is the facts, but it's not the truth. I came into maturity after Martin Luther King had already made his mark, after the atrocities of Hitler and Mussolini and Stalin. After all that was done, I came into maturity, and clearly I felt we had put that all behind us. But clearly we hadn't. But I thought we did. And most of our children today are going to grow up, most of our teens today and children are going to grow up thinking that all of that is behind us as well. And every generation is going to grow up thinking all of that is behind us. And it's up to you and I to decide to be part of that generation and help them actually live that truth, with us knowing the difference between truth and fact. I believe that there is a Supreme Court in our minds, and its rulings are unchangeable. There are certain rulings that are absolutely unchangeable. There are certain truths that are unchangeable. And it has been decided already that nothing can change it. No matter what, there are certain truths that cannot be changed. Today, as I was doing CPR this morning, one of the quotes that came up was, "Conditions improve as the mind improves." Your conditions of your life will improve as your mind improves. Well, this week kind of showed us, interestingly enough, that the mind is improving in some areas and depreciating in others. Seriously, it is. It's showing that we are growing here, and maybe we're still kind of stagnant here, or we're trying to pull ourselves back here. But that doesn't mean that there isn't one mind that is always, always moving ahead for good at all times. That's what we teach. Lest any of you be confused about what we teach, what New Thought teaches. Actually, most religions teach this. It's a matter of what do we live what we teach. That life is constantly moving forward for good, regardless of what you are seeing. And that is, as Ellen said, the way we stay right here no matter where the needle goes. That's what we teach. Now, it's interesting. So this week, on Tuesday, whenever the ruling was it on Monday it came in? Reverend Joe Hooper called me and left me a voice message. And he leaves on my phone, "We're equal, we're equal, we're equal." Now, I don't know where I was when I got it, but I listened to it. I go, what the hell is he talking about? We're equal. And I started thinking, did I do something that he did? I had no idea what he's talking about. I just didn't. So I called him back and I said, what are we equal to? What did you do? And he said, oh my God, I'm talking about the Supreme Court ruling. I went, oh, right. And he said, doesn't it make you really excited? And I said, actually, no. I haven't felt an overwhelming excitement about it, just like I didn't feel an overwhelming depression about Prop 8 when it passed. Because I understand something in my life. I really do. I understand that my life is unfolding perfectly, and I don't care what the facts are. Because my mind must stay here if I'm actually going to live this teaching. And if when Proposition 8 passed, I started getting all vigilant and violent and angry and upset, then, my husband can do that. I have my pit bull who will handle that part of our family. So, and I know you're watching today. We can talk later. So, no, but I said that because, I'm not backpedaling, by the way. I said that because, you know what? There's a place for that in the world. There really is. I don't necessarily believe that type of anger ever really gets anything done. But I do think it's a voice that still needs to be heard, and I respect it. And I respect my husband for the way he handles things. But for me, and this teaching, I think it is imperative that we get that life is unfolding perfectly no matter what. Yes? That has to be the truth. That doesn't stop me from showing up at those rallies, though. It doesn't stop me from showing up or signing my petition or putting my money behind things that I think need to be changed. Absolutely not. But it's the mindset that goes into the affirmative action. It's the mindset that goes, probably the wrong term to use today, the mindset that goes into doing what needs to be done. The mindset of, it's inevitable, and now I'm going to put my energy behind the inevitable. That's the way it is. Not, I got to fight this because I might lose this. I can never lose my rights. Not my God-given right of truth, always unfolding perfectly, just can't happen. Now, it's interesting. A friend of mine said to me about the marriages, lots of marriages this weekend. You know why there were so many marriages this weekend? Because there are a lot of people that think Monday morning this is all going to be turned around. Isn't that fascinating? I didn't even contemplate that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, doesn't that make you mad? I'm like, no. Did you not hear the last no? No. And my friends, most of my friends are like, you're weird. Really? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Come to church on Sunday and you'll see how weird I'm not. Really? It's like, I can live a very confident life because I understand the law. As I'm sitting here in front of a lawyer, I can understand the law. And regardless of which side you argue on, and regardless of what wins, there is a win that can never be won. It is always, always in place. So my friends were saying they needed to deal with these things because on Monday it could be gone. And they said, for how long? How long is this really going to last? How long? And now Kevin and I got married before the Prop 8 thing, and then Prop 8 came in, and nobody else could get married, but we stayed married. So, I thought to myself, it's fascinating. We just got married. We didn't get married because of Prop 8. We just got married because it was time. So Last night, I went to a wedding. I got a text at 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm getting married. Mayor Antonio is marrying us. Please come. We need you there. First, I wrote back and said, how dare you not have me marry you? and I got back, it just said, he's the mayor. And then I wrote back, I'm cuter. And then he wrote back, yes, but he's the mayor. So I went home, got my suit on. Actually, I picked it up, went home, got my suit on, and went to Venice for this wedding. Very quiet, very small wedding, maybe 30 people. And it was a very, very old dear friend of mine who I haven't seen in a while. But it was fascinating to me to go to this wedding. And I've got to meet the mayor. I've met him before, and we threw a benefit for him here. But I got to stand and talk with him for a while, and it was really great. And it was great to watch him marry these two people, and Tony and his husband, Chaba. Chaba has been living in this country for 8 years illegally. I mean, he can't leave, because if he leaves, not illegally, but if he leaves, he doesn't get to come back. So they've been kind of stuck here for this whole 7 years, because he couldn't go out and he couldn't come back. That all changes. Doma goes, it all changes. So there they were getting married, and the emotional impact of that was very profound. But here's what I noticed. While I was trying to take pictures and looking at it all, I stopped at one point, and I just stood there and felt the energy of the room and looked around, and I thought to myself, we are right now in a celebration of love. All of the anger, all of the separation, all of the fear, all of the past isn't present in this moment. We are just celebrating love. And then I thought about something. I thought about Karen's song, because her lyrics have been going through my mind. And I realized that equal rights may not be the biggest issue at hand right now. I think forgiveness is the bigger issue right now. I think there are many sides that are holding so firm, including the side for gay rights, that are still not forgiving why this feels this way. And this side is not forgiving this side for wanting something it thinks is wrong. So this whole forgiveness issue came to me as I was standing there, and I started to cry. And I thought, wow, how do we move from what's going on into forgiveness? Because guess what? As Karen's song says, forgiveness is what's going to heal it all. And forgiveness is going to make the entire point moot. Because when we forgive for good, we allow love to be what it is. And I thought about this yesterday. I said, so ultimately, we need to step into a period of celebration without fearing so much what's going to happen next. And I don't have to fear what's going to happen next, because I happen to know what's going to happen next. Good is going to unfold perfectly, no matter what. So, Karen's song, when I forgive for good, that's when I am free to release the pain of the past. I don't go to a lot of shows here in town because I'm usually too busy. So the fact that I ended up at that play and I didn't know what it was about on the week that all of this happened, and when I was coming in to talk about this, is because the universe always puts me where I need to be, to know what I need to know and to hear what I need to hear. And when I heard the story of Lorenz Hart, and I thought about all the people that came before me in terms of gay rights, I had to forgive. I had to open my heart and forgive all of that behavior, all of that. That's when I'm free to release the pain of the past. It's for me, it's for you, it's forever. We are blessed when we find forgiveness. And here's the thing I love about Karen's song. When we find forgiveness, you don't have to create forgiveness. You don't even have to find a way to be forgiving. You just need to find forgiveness. It's an atmosphere. It's an energy. And here's what I know. You know where forgiveness is? Where love is. You open your heart to love, love only. You allow yourself to love only. Forgiveness is a given. And forgive everything. I've had questions about that. Some of you have asked me, really, forgive everything? Everything? Like everything? And I'm like, everything. Because when you really know what it all is, what's left? If I'm loving only, got to forgive everything, right? And that takes remembering who I am. And then as Doug says, I get to live in gratitude for all that life has to give me. And going on, we think we're justified. It eats us up inside till there's a hole a mile wide filled with anger and fear. How much justification do you think there is on both sides? of any question. But if we can get rid of the justification and just step into the love, into the truth, that'll all change. And then this maybe is my favorite line that you've ever written. I held you responsible. I could have held you tight. How many arguments have you had with someone? A husband, a wife, a lover, a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, a friend, whatever, where you held them responsible for something when all you had to do was hold them tight. God, when I read that, and Kevin was in New York, and I thought, I just wish he were here so I could just hold him tight for all the times I held him responsible. And there were many. Truly, my whole life. How many times have you held someone responsible for what you're going through? But what do we teach? I create my experience. I create it. If you're doing something that I think you are to blame for, I've encouraged you in. I brought you in. I am here, therefore I am responsible for my part of this. I held you responsible. I could have held you tight, but I had to be right. I had to be right. Now, I don't have that problem, but many people do. Oh. If I had $1 back for every time I had to be right, I would be so rich. I mean, think about it. How many of you have that issue? You have to be right. And the rest of you, you're lying. So, no, I'm kidding. But it's true. What a brilliant... I had to be right. Release the pain of the past. It's when we are blessed, when we find forgiveness. Forgive everything. You know, we'll still continue to improve on our Supreme Court rulings. We will. But there's something that's unchangeable. It's this. We came out on CPR this morning, and I instantly, while I was talking, just wrote the page number down because I can never find them afterwards. Good is not an experience. It is cause to every experience. We think good is experiential, and we believe in good and bad. There's only good and bad in terms of experience. But that which is unchangeable is good. And you know, people have said to me, don't use the word good, it's confusing, because then you think good, bad. I'm like, you know what, I'm done with that argument. Just telling you here, all of those of you that bring me to that argument. And I say, well, then let's use constructive and destructive. No, I'm back to good. Because here's the deal. Ask a child if something was good, and they'll tell you. Because there's something in them that recognizes good, knows what good is. A bowl of ice cream is good. Especially late at night. It is good. You know, love, when you feel love, it's good. So, I love this. Good is not an experience. It is cause to every experience. When I forgive for good, I understand that good is behind everything. So it's not that I'm forgiving for always. It's that I'm forgiving in order to lean into the good. When I forgive for good. Life is unfolding perfectly for DOMA, for Prop 8, for every proposition that's ever going to come. There will always, always, always be something next. But there will never be something other than good, other than God, other than love. When I forgive for good, there are two sides to that. When I forgive forever. And I believe there's going to come a time in our evolution when we will forgive forever and we'll be done. Everything will be done. I see a new generation that lives in a very different paradigm than we do, where there is not either side of an argument, where there is just truth that everyone buys into. And from that position, I mean, think about this. We're still working in a paradigm where we are arguing back and forth so much of the time, there's not a lot of time to live life to the fullest. We're too busy arguing what fullest means. I see a time when we get past this. We get past any kind of Supreme Court ruling, and we go with the supreme ruling, which says that there is only good. It's back of everything. And if I can just forgive everything else, forgive for good, then I will accomplish both things. It'll be for always, and it will be for a truth that is unchangeable, and that is good. Love God. And let's not forget, that's what you are, that's who I am is. Big week this week. Big week. not because of the decisions that were made. Those are facts. It's a big week this week because those facts are going to make us think deeper about what's behind them. And that's really the good that I want to talk about. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.